Joy to have the honour of both sponsoring this event, but also to welcome you all and the Lisburn Young Defenders to Parliament Buildings in Stormont. I have to say, one of the big benefits has been to listen to a little bit of what the tour guide has had to say. I have worked around the building now for almost 20 years and I found out different things tonight, things that I did not know. I have to say though, I'm not sure I would be that comfortable sitting underneath that chandelier, so but you're all very, very welcome. It's really, really good to have Lisburn Young Defenders up to Parliament Buildings. I know in terms of the key anniversary it was challenging to get to celebrate it in the way that everybody would have liked to because of COVID and other issues at that time. So it's great to be able to do that tonight, and I hope that tonight, I've no doubt that tonight will be a real evening of celebration. I'm heading off to the United States early tomorrow morning, so I can't unfortunately stay for the entire concert. But it also provides an opportunity to recognise the huge value that bands bring to our cultural landscape in Northern Ireland. To recognise not just the colour and the music and the enjoyment that it gives to many, many tens of thousands of people who come out to watch the bands, but the enrichment it gives to so many people who are in bands. But also to say a huge thank you to those in Lisburn Young Defenders and indeed in our many hundreds of bands across Northern Ireland who spend so much time, because we know that the band's success absolutely rises and falls on hard work of the many volunteers, very often driven by a small number of people. But to have achieved this milestone for Lisburn Young Defenders is a hugely incredible thing, and it is down to many decades of hard work. The band has a reputation for excellence, and that is down to a huge amount of work by everyone in the band, by those who work with the musicians, those musicians who spend so much time in practice, and I have no doubt that it is a reputation that will only continue to grow. You're known for your musical excellence, you're known for your high standards, and indeed for those who love band music and love flute music, you're known for the quality of what you do. It is a real honour to have you here, and I truly hope that everyone attending has no doubt that you will have a hugely enjoyable evening.
Deputy First Minister, ladies and gentlemen, I bid you all a very warm welcome tonight to a concert in this iconic setting to celebrate the end of our 55th anniversary year. Many thanks to Deputy First Minister Emma Little-Pengelly for the invitation to perform in this grand venue. The band was formed in 1970 when a group of young men from Warner Road Protestant Boys merged with the Sam Anderson Memorial Flute Band to form Lisburn Young Defenders. The very first official parade was on the 1st of July 1971, when we accompanied Southampton Morris Defenders LOL 1941, and then attended their first 12th with them to the field at Brook Hill in Knocknewall. It proved to be something very different and certainly encouraged me to join a couple of months later. Locally, we have continued a relationship with all the loyal orders ever since, namely Lisburn Heroes Temperance, LOL 141, a long stint with Ballymackay LOL 317, Floor Hill LOL 328, and have been with Lord Carson Memorial LOL 1991 for the past 26 years. There was also a long time with Broomheads Apprentice Boys at Derry, and a few years with McMichael Memorial RBP 338, and presently with Beaconsfield Chosen Few RBP 14 for over 40 years. Although not a member at the time, Robert McCamley, who's here tonight, was playing with the band on that 1st of July parade in 1971 as a guest, but has now been a member for over 25 years. Robert is now on the wrong side of 70, but our membership, in fact some people think he's about 96, but our membership has a wide variety of people in the band, male and female, and a wide age range from 9-year-old to members in their 70s. In fact, one of our earlier drummers 9-year-old James is making his public debut with the band tonight on Triangle. I'm sure he will always remember his first outing. We are always keen to welcome people of all ages and abilities to our group. My first practice was held in Spruce Street, Orange Hall, but over the years we have moved about, firstly to the old Lisburn Amateur Boxing Club in Key Street in Lisburn, which is no longer there, of course, with the new road networks and what about it, and then Lisburn Orange Hall. But home for around the last 40 years has been Leslie Memorial Hall at Broomheads, and we are indebted to them for their support and the use of their facilities. Initially the band was the Blood and Thunder genre and won many prizes at street competitions. However, about 6 years later, Reggie Hearn and myself taught them the first sacred march, Sabbath Morn. That was the start of the transition to the present Melody Flute Band. We became Melody Flute Band champions of Ireland on 3 occasions, along with other victories at solo and small ensemble competitions at national level. Over the years, we have been indebted to a number of conductors: Bill McKenzie, Robin Ferguson, and Gary Shields, who conducted the band for 20 years. Tonight, the band is conducted by a great friend and music arranger from Eglinton in County Londonderry. To carry on with the first section of musical items, could you please give a warm round of applause for Lisburn Young Defenders on the direction of our conductor, Mr. Phil Lindsay.
personal feel for them. They tend to be dedicated to individuals, dedicated to bands. The first one we're going to play is one called Step Aside, which I'm sure explains itself, doesn't it? I hope you enjoy it. He is a master of the counter harmony and the flute, which is something very few people in Northern Ireland compose like that. The second version I'm going to play from is one I raised in the band, and it's called Love, which I suppose epitomises what we're all here for, love of music. that is our big marches are definitely moving and that's bands in the street.
Another few bits of history. Noel Pinkerton's here tonight, and when I joined the band first, we met in Sprucefield Orange Hall, and Pinky was one of the few people that had a car. So at the end of the band practice, on a Wednesday night, there was a chip shop at Snow Street at the time called Yum Yum. I don't know whether any of you remember it or not, but Noel Pinkerton's car, it was a Mark I Ford Escort, but it could have been a 33-seater minibus, because everybody played in it, and the whole band played in the Yum Yum on Stone Street at the end of the thing. Our first uniform was something very simple. It was a white shirt, a pair of light grey trousers, and a maroon crimpling tie. We moved on from that, and we got there was a brass band in England who had ordered a uniform, and they ended up didn't take it. So we got it at a reduced rate, and I did this for a number of years. And then, but as usual, uniforms were out, and they've moved on until they eventually ended up, we've had navy blue uniforms, we've had green uniforms, but we eventually ended up with this red uniform, and the band's a wee bit smaller now, but it helps when it's red because it makes it look bigger when you're walking down the road. But the early sort of Scottish visits, I know that I've been over lately with the Grand Lodge of Central Scotland. The early visits to Scotland were to Cumnock and Ayrshire, and with the odds there, we did that for a number of years. We did their bicentenary parade, which actually ended up in Cumnock, and it was those were great events, but they're very, very long days because you start parading like at 7:30 in the morning, and you're very lucky if you're finished at 8 o'clock at night, and you're absolutely knackered. But the next set of music we're going to play are things that we've used in events along with the Ulster Defence Regimental Association and the RIR. We played them at some things we played at the RIR Regimental Festival of Remembrance in the Island Centre last year. So there'll be a few bits of that, and the section will finish up with our drummers performing the drum static. And at that point, we're going to have a short interval of about 15 minutes. Then you move about, stretch your legs, use the toilet facilities if you want. So please welcome back Phil to the conductor's podium.
As I'm very said, the band played at the Festival of Remembrance last year. When they first approached me, I said yes. And so just got off and what can you play that's appropriate and has an element of value without losing the point of why we're here. And this next arrangement was one of the years. It was basically based on songs from the Great War. I would really appreciate, I'm sure the band would really enjoy it if you'd like to sing the last song. So we didn't see who sang. Well spotted. Okay, this next thing we're going to play was scored for film, and it's based on a true story. It was Stormont Building, where a great number of allied prisoners escaped, and unfortunately, of those who escaped, 50 of them didn't return. It's a film that has to be stopped. So we're going to pretty much with this game. I'm not going to introduce it, I'm sure you'll know what's This tune was raised by a man from Scotland, very well-known composer, and it was in reference to the war and the Scottish and the composer for the war. Something like more. So hopefully you'll enjoy this. It's quite nice.
You enjoying yourselves? Yes. Good. It's a good start. Nobody's disappeared at the halfway stage. Alan touched in the early years of the band. I'll give you a brief history over the sort of last 15 years. One of the things that the band has done quite a number of years is hosted what used to be a melody contest. Attracted bands from Scotland, attracted Imperial Choir drums from Liverpool. Quite a number of bands came over and regular support at that bands, and well attended. We've changed it now to a festival flute band, which runs the 20th of March in Lisburn Hall. Anyone who's available, you'd be more than welcome to come along. We have 10 melody bands on stage during the day, so you're more than welcome to pop along to that. In the last 15 years, band concerts have become even more popular, and we travelled to places as far away as Ballymallard, believe it or not. If you haven't been there, you need a reason nearly to be there. In 2011, the band was invited to perform the Ulster Hall. They'd done so on occasions before for Irish Championships, that sort of thing, but this is the Festival of Marching Bands. Ulster Hall was packed, great event. There are videos on YouTube for it. The night we performed, Old Protestant Boys, Brookborough, Downshire, Pride and Main bands that would still be in contact with and performed with us, and again a memorable occasion. As Alan touched on earlier, 2012 we decided to go for this uniform. There was a lot of deliberation done at that time as to what was right and what was wrong, but it was based on Irish Guards uniform, and we have since then never really had much thought of changing it, because it looks as though it is the right thing, and we're happy with it. It certainly gives the band a presence and recognition. 2012, videos were becoming more popular. We started to take some of our own, and I think at this stage I would like to thank certainly Richard, Neil and their accomplices for coming along here tonight. Videos have really brought, I suppose, band parades, music and everything else to people who perhaps are in rural isolation, carers maybe who don't have the time to go to band parades, people with responsibilities. So it's a massive lift to the band scene in Northern Ireland that these people give of their time, and they do give it a bit freely to come along and promote the band scene. 2013 we returned to the Ayrshire parade in Antrim. We were still continuing some parades supporting the likes of Oma, Cookstown, Fermanagh, etc. And as well as our melody contest at that time, we held 2 Blood and Thunder nights in the first booth, so we had a lot of bands to go back to and a lot of travelling, and it was a busy time. 2015 became another highlight for the band. At that stage we were invited to perform at Belfast Tattoo. See Norman Briggs down there. Norman accompanied us and had a great time at it, going to the rehearsal, etc., and got some really brilliant photographs. But to walk out, first of all, into the arena, Brookborough Flute Band were accompanying us. We did play a section of our own, but an unbelievable experience. To go out, first of all, with Brookborough, Saturday night, and really boisterous and enjoyable. And to walk on stage with the band and Royal Marines is something different. There's no doubt that everybody did it. It was a hugely memorable occasion. And a big thing for the band that they could be considered to be on a stage with the Royal Marines. 2016, it was a fairly unique one. We got first melody flute band with Kilcooley Volunteers parade. For years I think we tried to do it, we never got it. And while street parades probably aren't judged on where your band's going, but I think it was George Best that said at the time that if only one person thinks that I'm the best, I'm happy with it. So at that night, Kilcooley, we were happy that one person thought that we were the best melody flute band, and we were happy with it. We also, in 2016, were awarded the Jim Drake Memorial Shield, which was presented by the South Antrim Combine for the best band on the 12th of July. A huge honour for the band to win that. Jim Drake had been a friend of the band, and that again was a unique time for us. We were travelling across to Scotland at that time. Pride of the North Flute Band decided to hold a day of melody, and we headed over to that. Shared the stage with top bands from Scotland, Black Skull Corps of Drums, or Dross and Wind, Saracen, Black Ridge Thistle, and the Imperial from Liverpool were there. Again, big occasion for all the band to be able to step onto that stage and be accepted amongst the best bands in Scotland. 2017, again top form and another year of progress. We won the Melody Plus at the Own Choice competition run by the Flute Band Association, and the Best Band Checker Road Defenders contest whenever we won a number of the categories. We again renewed the friendship with Pride of the North Indoor, and at this stage I would like to thank wherever she is, Alison MacDonald, over the number of, you didn't think it was that long, I suppose 10 years or more, but our travel arrangements, we sort of said to Alison what do we need, where are we going, etc. She's arranged, in most cases, easyJet flights, hotels, and almost everything that we've done has gone to perfection. So, on behalf of the band, Alison, huge thanks for your help, and as you well know, there's a wee bit more to come on it. So that's us up to 2017, and I hand over to Phil. Sorry, one thing I should have said, folks. For our 55th anniversary, we produced a CD and a USB. Anybody who doesn't know a USB, it's the same thing, but it just goes in a different way. That was called 55 and Still Going Strong. It has a number of 23 tunes on it. Real mixture, going back to Orange tunes in it, going back to jigs, pop songs, marches, etc. Some of them maybe won't heard tonight, but those are available tonight for anybody that like one. £10 will get you one, £20 gets you two. And if I can hand over to Phil at this stage, and Phil will take on for the next part. Thank you.
Music I arranged in the band when we did a battlefield tour in Belgium and France. This tune was actually arranged so we played that in the Renegade and the Feeble Memorial. And it's a rework of a tune composed by Alice House, and it's called Plastic Daisy. On that. taxi name from the old ones called the Light. this next tune is the harmony and I want to.
Thanks again for your applause, folks. Much appreciated. And a wee bit of a mixture of music there, as you probably saw, which, well, diverse instrumentation in the band, not quite all here at the moment, but Joanne from me playing piccolo, which is the very high sound from here. Front row is mostly playing first flutes. Second row here we have second flutes, so they're playing a counter melody, and then two F flutes, which are the more bass sound that you hear in the whole thing. As you heard in the tragedy, there was quite another instrumentation all with the drum section. Thanks again, all your boys, and obviously they had the encouragement, let's put it like that, to go ahead and do that. So thanks everybody, I appreciate it. 2018 we're on to, at that stage, through a relationship of our melody contest, and one of the Scottish bands that went over, we started to have discussions with the County Grand Lodge of Central Scotland. For those that don't know, there were 4 parades in Scotland, and when the dates clashed in July, you have the Glasgow and the Central Parade on the same day. So, amongst those discussions, invitation came to the band to attend Central Scotland and lead that parade. There were actually 2 visits other than that in 2018 in Scotland. We went to support Blackridge Thistle at a day that they had. And we also were at the Pride of the North indoor event again in Glasgow. Both bands had attended our contest in 2018. Our music was diversifying. We couldn't really go to the likes of Scotland play the same thing 2 years in a row on it, so we had to look for changes. More pop tunes been added to the repertoire, and certainly more diverse instrumentation, as I've said there. Concert we attended was a fairly memorable thing in 2018 for a chap called Marcus Glennie. Marcus Glennie had a great friend of the band, and in fact many bands over here, and would have travelled everywhere to put a band out if there were somebody short and whatever. Unfortunately he passed away in 2018. We went to Craigavon and a very memorable concert that night. 2019 we had a change of style in the band, and a lot of people talk about funding and different things, whatever, but we were very grateful to the Arts Council at that stage. They provided us with funding for a new set of drums. In fact, it's the drums that you see here tonight. Previous to that, we had white drums, similar make of drum, this, that, and the other. But we changed the drums to go side saddle, if you want to call it, and we changed to this more military look on the drums. They've served us very well. At that stage, we're very grateful again for the funding that was there. It meant we didn't have to go and sell ballots and bits and pieces like that. So we managed to make it to West Calder with the County Grand Lodge of Central Scotland. Cracking day, really, really enjoyable, great welcome from everybody that was there, and a thoroughly enjoyable trip for all the band. And a thoroughly enjoyable night in Stormont. We headed back to there, and I think the best part of it was that some of the younger boys, they're here, but some of the younger boys arrived at this place in Stormont. I can't really describe it to you, but it's a rural setting. And they wanted to know where the bank machine was. The ATM to go and get the money. And I think the bus driver just looked at them and ended up having to go and take them to whatever the next village was or somewhere to get it. Stormont, I don't think still, Graham, Stormont still wouldn't have an ATM in a church, wouldn't. But cracking night and very well received. And that 2020, as everybody knows, COVID sort of came fairly quickly. At that stage, we managed to play in the Orange Awards in Lisburn. They asked us to play in the foyer so as we could people would meet us coming in. And it was around about St Patrick's Day, and it was the last event, certainly 2020 at that stage, that took place because in came the coronavirus, as they called it. Rules. Didn't have a 12th parade that year, but we were permitted to go and parade, and we paraded from Nicholson House and down to the Lagan Valley Hospital. We actually played in the front of the hospital for anybody who wanted to come along and for the patients in the hospital and that sort of thing, but we were permitted to do it. Unfortunately, it wasn't classed as being a 12th parade. We had a trip planned to the battlefield. 2020 was postponed. As Alison knows, it re-postponed 2021 and eventually happened in Easter 2022. We're very privileged to have Tom Saunders as our guide at that time, and the band were warmly welcomed everywhere they went. We performed in Heroes Square, Arras, and we're the first civilian band ever to do that. There have been military bands that have done it, but the first civilian band to play at Heroes Square, Arras. That was a hugely memorable occasion. But the highlight was undoubtedly performing at the Men in Gate ceremony in Antrim, something we intend to repeat in 2027. I looked last night just to see, there was a video put on Facebook of our performance at the Men in Gate. It has 649,000 views. So for a wee band from Lisburn to go over there and play and have something that's got over 500,000 views on, who knows whether they're all right or not, but you can only deal with the facts and never let the truth get in the way of a good story. So 649,000. As well as our regular engagements, Farewell 1991, RBP 14 and Remembrance Day, we have continued to enjoy memorable moments and highlights on parade over the last few years. Leading Macragall District at the Northern Ireland Centenary Parade, accompanying the UDR Association at their annual celebration of operational duties, leading Sir Knights of County Antrim RBP chapter at the opening of the new headquarters in Loughgall, joining with Glasgow and Liverpool Junior LOL at the Junior LOL Centenary Parade in Lisburn, accompanying overseas brethren attending Scarva in 2024. For anybody who's been at Scarva, being the second band on the road, I can assure you, is a huge advantage at Scarva, and again, a really enjoyable day for us. But particularly having the honour of leading the biggest Orange Order parade in Scotland, engaged with the County Grand Lodge of Central Scotland officers at Airdrie in 2024 and Hamilton in 2025, and evening entertainment in Imperial Bales Hill. Two fantastic weekends which were thoroughly enjoyed. I spoke earlier of videos. It was a damp day, and as Richard and Michelle know, the weather wasn't just all that kind. Despite the meticulous planning from Graham and his team, the weather unfortunately was the one thing that didn't come into it, and it was a damp day. But there was a girl from Scottish Band Parades who was doing it live, and she walked up the road in front of us. We were playing Road to the Isles, a tune that we played tonight. And we weren't sure what to expect, because again, you're going into a place you don't know the background of it, and Hamilton particularly, you're not sure how well you'll be received or whatever. And we weren't sure what the people would expect, because it's a challenge when you're going out. What do they want to see? What do they want to hear? Do they want to be offended, I suppose is the simplest way to put it. And in our case, we didn't give them anything to challenge. nor did we give anything at all that the Orange Order could be challenged. That video was 161,000 views on Scottish Band Parades. And when I had a brief look, there's not another video that they have taken that has anywhere near that number of views on it. So people are watching us. I don't know what they're watching us for, whether it's good or bad. But it does show again, as I say, the power of social media. Again, get back to Richard, Neil and other people right those bits. The power of that is huge, of lifting the profile of the band. But we massively displayed our culture in a positive way. Indoors, we have continued to contribute positively to a number of high-profile events. Orange Order Awards in 2024 and the Festival of Remembrance in 2025, the RIR Association, where we performed in Lisburn Island Centre, those being two of the most memorable. We also had a D-Day 60th anniversary concert for Lisburn Council. We performed along with the band of the Royal Irish Regiment, again a huge stage to step onto, but the young men you see here now all did it confidently and certainly are all the better for it. Our VA Day celebrations at Leslie Memorial and Old Quarters were almost as memorable. We had great nights with good friends, and the Deputy First Minister certainly even joined in some of those. So indoors and outdoors, we've tried to maintain the standard, but we've tried to enjoy ourselves. And much appreciate the support of the ones that we've mentioned there who have been there for the band and have needed them. So for the next musical selection, can I hand back to Phil? Thank you again. I'm glad to hear that this near the end. You enjoying yourselves all right, yes? Good. 55 years. I heard recently somebody saying about marriage, and they said about 55 years, well, you said it was till death you do part. The boy said, well, I didn't think it would be that long, but it's taken a long time to get to this, and it doesn't happen by accident. I think Emma mentioned it there earlier. Good people, good guidance, good relationships, and good friends. Many people have helped us to get where we are today, and that's not highlighting big performance on big stages. It's about the rough and tumble. Anyone in any organisation knows what that is and who does it. The jobs that nobody volunteers to do, but somebody will do, and not take the credit. To everyone who has helped us get this far, we pass on grateful thanks. To those in our ranks, we encourage your continued positive contributions. To friends and family and those who engage us, we look forward to your continued support and encouragement. We thank the Arts Council for their funding, and our politicians for actually pushing it in that direction. We're taking delivery of a new set of flutes, which will further enhance the band, and that again was through an Arts Council award. And we will continue to look for future opportunities to develop all our members for the good of the band. To all those who engaged us previously, we greatly appreciate it. To those who would like to engage us, please ask, because we can only say no. For those that are free, Lisburn Orange Hall, as I mentioned, the 20th of March, you've been more than welcome to come along and enjoy a good day of Melody Flute bands and evening entertainment with a bit of Global Thunder. 55th anniversary CD USB, as I said, you know, with the cash, you can take PayPal or bank transfer. Special thanks to those who give their time to arrange music for us, and particularly Phil, who will regularly travel from Londonderry to help rehearse and conduct. Can I ask, please, for a round of applause for them? As you have heard tonight, a lot of those arrangements were his, and that's the way music goes. You may have the music, but the arranger sets it for the band, what's going to suit the band. And he has worked very, very hard to get music that suits us. I think everybody not only enjoys his engagement, but the music that he's providing for us. So thanks again, Phil. What we don't know about it, if we won the Irish Championship as a band, we actually probably still all collectively here wouldn't have as many medals as he has in the Irish Championships. There's quite a many, have you? A couple. So certainly somebody that we're very welcome to have involved with the band. Folks, huge thanks for being with us on this special occasion. Thanks to all the Marks and Relentless for the coverage, and we would thank our Lagan Valley MLA, Deputy First Minister Emily Kingelly for hosting us. She's had to go to get ready to go to Washington in the morning. One stage she thought she might be flying away tonight, but we're very grateful that she did come at least and be part of us here this evening. So for the finale, we're going to do a wee bit of something to get you livened up. That's foot tapping and doing whatever. And at this stage, I'd also like to ask a man who's been a great supporter of the band and we're told can play a set of cymbals. We're told can play a set of cymbals. He's been photographed before playing a set of cymbals, but he's never played a set of cymbals with Lisburn Young Defenders. So if Tim Webb would like to move to the front, slide over to the percussion section here, we'll be delighted to have you to join us. Folks, anybody want to see me up here at the end? If you come up and see me, I'll certainly get you sorted.
Definitely go to the seat.
You know that?
we've come to a very last place. I don't think we'll stay for anything. Please, like, to do that.